Alright, here's your guys' text corrections. So, in order to receive all the points for your guys' text corrections, you have to write down everything you see on the screen. Everything that's written down, that's what you have to write down. You have to show all your work, you just have to copy down everything that I write down. So you guys can get full points on your guys' test corrections. Alright, so number one, it says to solve for x. So this is using similar triangles. Similar triangles with right triangles. So one thing to notice is, since you're solving for x, there's this smaller triangle, there's x and 1, and we're comparing it to the bigger triangle. This is where the x is, and this whole length right here is 5. 1 plus 4 is 5. Now, now you can set up a proportion, because this is the hypotenuse for that triangle, and this is the short leg, or short side. This is the short leg of that triangle, and this is the hypotenuse of that triangle. So you guys can set up a proportion. I'll just do x over 1, hypotenuse over short leg, and it better be hypotenuse over short leg over here. And then you guys simply just cross multiply to get x to the second equals 5, square root both sides, and this side length of x would have been square root of 5. So this should have been your guys' answer. X is equal to the square root of 5. And technical difficulties, so let me bring this up. Alright, so number 2, 3 parallel lines cut by 2 transversals, which means we can make a proportion. 6 over 11 equals x over 10. Cross multiply. So 11 times x is 11x, 6 times 10 is 60, divide both by 11, and x is equal to 60 over 11. Now, in the directions on your test, it says to round to the nearest tenth. So 60 divided by 11, you guys, is going to give you 5.4545. This is the one you round. So because that's 5, that means we do round up. So your guys' answer should have been 5.5. Should have round up. So it's going to be 5.5. Number 3. So, in this figure, we can set up a proportion. So 12 over 6 is equal to 20 over x. This over this equals this over this. So from here, you guys, cross multiply. 12x is equal to 6 times 20 is 120. Divide both by 12. Should have gotten x is equal to 10. Number 4. So this one was a word problem, you guys, and pretty much you had to actually draw these two figures. It had to do with a stick and a stick casting its shadow, and then there's a telephone pole casting a shadow of 9 meters. Cast a shadow that is 9 meters. So this actually should be 9 meters. So how tall is the telephone pole? So you're solving for this. So set up a proportion. 1 over 1.5 is equal to x over 9. Cross multiply. So 1.5 times x is 1.5x. 9 times 1 is 9. Divide both by 1.5 to solve for x, and you should have gotten 6. X is equal to 6 for 6 meters. That's how tall the telephone pole should have been. Number 5. So for number 5, you guys, this is what we call an exterior angle, and these are called your remote interior angles. So the exterior angle, you guys, is equal to the sum of the two remote interior angles. So 5x minus 6 is equal to the sum of the two remote interior angles. So we get 5x minus 6 equals 119. Add 6 to both sides. 5x is equal to 125. Divide both sides by 5, and you should have gotten x is equal to 25. Okay, number 6. Now when you guys have this thing called a mid-segment, pretty much it's the midpoint. It's connecting the midpoint of both of these two sides. This is half of this, or this is double of this length right here. So pretty much 2 times 12 is equal to 4x. Because remember, you either double this and it'll give you guys this length, or you guys half this to get that length. So 24 would have equal to 4x, divide both by 4, and x would have equal to 6. And that makes sense because if this was 6, you guys, 4 times 6 is 24. This length is double of that one. 24 is double of 12. So, for 72, you are trying to find YZ. You're trying to find this length right here. Well, if you guys know that this is 52, then this value, you guys, is just double of this. So 2 times 52 is equal to x. 2 times 52, you guys, is 104. So that one should have been 104. X equals 104. I'll write like this so that you guys know. X equals 104. Okay, number 8. Find the measure of one exterior angle of a regular polygon with 18 sides. So to find the measure of one exterior angle, it's this formula, 360 divided by n. N is the number of sides, so 360 divided by 18, which is 20. So it should have been 20 for the exterior angle of the 18-sided polygon. Number 9, find the sum of the interior angle measure of a 35 cone. So the sum of the interior angles of a polygon is this formula, 180 times n minus 2. And n is the number of sides. So that's 180 times 35 minus 2, 180 times 33, and 180 times 33 is 5,940 degrees. 5,940. Number 10. So you have the stop sign, find the measure of one interior angle in the polygon. To find the measure of one interior angle of a polygon, it's 180 times n minus 2, all divided by n. And remember, n is the number of sides. So how many sides are here? Well, n is equal to 8. There are 8 sides. So 180 times 8 minus 2, all over 8. 180 times 6 over 8. So 180 times 6, which is 1,080 divided by 8, which would have given you 135 degrees. Alright, number 11. This is a 45, 45, 90 degree triangle. So you guys have to know your ratios. To get from hypotenuse to a leg, you guys, you gotta divide by radical 2. To get to a leg to a hypotenuse, you gotta multiply by radical 2. So in this figure, we have a hypotenuse and 2 legs. So to find x, we're going from hypotenuse to a leg, which means we gotta divide 6 by radical 2. So 6 over radical 2. Can't have a radical in the denominator, so you gotta multiply top and bottom by radical 2. 6 times radical 2 is 6 radical 2. Radical 2 times radical 2, you guys, is just 2. Can't simplify that, but you can simplify 6 over 2, you guys, which is just 3, and the radical is still there. So for this one, x would have been 3 radical 2. Number 12. Which solution for the value of x in the figure is not correct? So in the description, they give you guys some proportions, and they ask which one is incorrect. So it's the very first one, you guys, which is this one. This is not a correct proportion. The reason being is it's 4 over 8, and then it has 8 over x. Remember, to make proportions, the way you make a proportion has to be consistent. There is no consistency when it comes to that. It should have been something like this over this then. But there's a variety of ways to make a proportion. You cannot do 4 over 8 equals to 8 over x. That is not a proper proportion. So the answer one, you guys, I had this. This is the one that is not correct. So you gotta select that one. That does not create a correct proportion. So it says the triangles are similar by, so you have to determine if these triangles are similar. Well, you guys know that a whole triangle interior angles add up to 180. So if that's 25 and that's 35, then that means this one has to be 120 degrees. For here, if this is 35 and that's 110, then subtract both of those from 180, and you would have found that this is actually 35 degrees. These triangles are not similar, not by side angle side, not by side side side, or not by angle angle. So, as a result, these triangles are not similar. Show answer in simplest radical form. So you guys just have to simplify this by doing your prime factorization tree. So 9 and 8, factors of 9 is 3 and 3, factors of 8 is 2 and 4, factors of 4 is 2 and 2. So we found pairs of 2s and pairs of 3s, and a leftover of 2. The leftover goes on the inside, which is 2, and the pairs, this 2 represents the pair of 2s, and this 3 represents the pair of 3s. 3 times 2, 6 radical 2. 15. Now, multiply these together. So we're going to multiply the 3 and the 5 together because those are on the outside of the radicals, or square roots. So that's 15 square root. Now we can multiply the 2 insides because those are both inside the square roots. 5 times 10 is 50. Now we just simplify the square root of 50, you guys. So 5 and 10, 2 and 5. We found a pairs of 5s and a leftover of 2s. So remember to bring the 15 down because that's already on the outside of the square root. We found one pair of 5s, so I'm going to put a 5 square root of the leftover, which is 2. 5 times 15, you guys, is 75 square root of 2. And that should have been your answer. So again, make sure you write down all of these steps, everything I've written here, that's what you guys should have written as well. And you guys will get full credit for your work. Alright? And make sure to get 100% on your guys' remake test by today. Alright? See ya.